So we were talking about that what I am going to cover it today. So we will be talking about lots of things in terms of SOC, right? So today's agenda is very crisp, very small, and I want you all to basically ask as many as questions you want related to SOC, job in a SOC, what will be lifestyle, work will be, you can say work-life culture, anything you do have related to SOC, feel free to ask. But it's not limited to SOC, right? So we can basically hear about more things apart from SOC, other domains of information security. So today's session, I will be first of all covering some major key points which you guys should be looking into, and then we will be talking about various separate things which will be helping us to look into the SOC, right? So our session starts with building a successful career in SOC. So what things you will be needing, what skills you will be needing to build up a successful career in SOC. And same agenda, guys, that same agenda, building from where we are starting, building a successful career. I'll summarize that in this particular prerequisites, right? I'll try to summarize that same thing which we are going to talk into the prerequisites because you will find that we are talking about one of the same things. We do have a dedicated Q&A session. Since today's session I have included very less points because I want to basically hear from you what problems you do have, what skills you are looking for, what approach you are looking for, so I can help you to get a better role or a job in a SOC at least, right? So these things we'll be talking about. We will be starting up that what career options from which background, who all people can work in SOC, what it would be to get their job in SOC, how the experience counts up over there, right? Then the next one is, guys, most common pitfalls, like the most common mistakes we as a professional do make in terms of getting a job into SOC, right? Or not in a job into SOC, I'll just try to basically make it more normalized, like what interview mistakes we do, what other things we do have in our control, which we do lack of, so that we are missing out of that particular thing. I got couple of people who are in touch with me who says that we have done trainings, we we do have certificates, we do have everything, right? But we are still not able to crack the interviews. So I'm going to address that particular part as well now in this particular most common pitfalls, right? After that, we will be talking about interview preparation checklist. So what all interview preps you should be doing before you go for an interview, what all are the necessary things, what you should be focusing into, and what you all should avoid up over there, right? And then prerequisites will be summarizing up all these 3 points, and then we will be having our Q&A session. Though I was looking more of not to basically show slides today, but since it's a series and I want it to be covered not just basically verbally or audio, so I'm just taking up, guys, few of the infographics, and we will be talking about those particular things up over there. Building up a successful career in SOC, right? SOC we all discussed, Security Operations Center. It's a 24 hours job where we will be working upon lots of things, right? So job, as I mentioned, guys, earlier, that SOC was basically a place where we were more of focusing that it will be only for big organization, isn't it? That it will be only for the big organization. But we'll just basically have discussed and we have understood that SOC is not limited to the big organization these days. We do have even SMEs, right? We do have SMEs who are basically also moving towards SOC. If one cannot basically build up a SOC in their organization, they are ready to hire SOC as a service. Be it any particular field, right? Be it any particular type of field where cyber security is related, right? Cyber security is there. Let's do talk about that particular part. I'm not talking about SOC, right? From 2017 to this 2022, you guys have noticed that there is a drastic change in demands of SOC, and there is a drastic change in demands of SOC jobs, SOC roles, and every organization these days is having about the things in SOC, right? I'll suggest you guys just take it a try, give it a try. Just search for top 50 companies in India, for an example, right? So if you just go around those top 50 companies in India, you will be basically having in their careers pages where they are hiring the people for cyber security, information security, and SOC analyst, security analyst, L1 jobs, L2 jobs. So everyone is basically going beyond that SOC, right? All of these top 50 companies would be having their own cybersecurity team in order to basically protect their network and infrastructure, right? So that is basically something which is up over there. So to build up a successful career in SOC, I would say you should have a strategic approach, right? A strategic approach in a sense that you should be planning the things basically in a way where you should understand that what exactly you are looking for, right? It's not about SOC, what exactly you're looking for. First of all, you will be starting. If I just give you some tips, let's say tip one would be, if you want to get a job in SOC, first of all, understand what is SOC architecture, right? Tip number one, what is SOC architecture? How does SOC works? What are different types of SOCs, right? All these particular things. Go around the basics of SOC. You do know that SOC is basically a department where you will be having lots and lots of tools, right? So understand those things, right? I've seen a lot of people who are basically aware of most of these tools, but are not aware of SIM methodology. So tip number two would be, if you want to work in SOC, pick up one SIM, do excel in it, right? That is one of the best things which you can look into. Pick up any particular SIM and try to excel in it. That is something which will be helping you all a lot. So it's not just directly you have to go through SIMs. I will be taking you to the entire hierarchy in our interview preparation checklist, where we will be talking about that what all things I should be looking into, right? So there are lots of keys, right? In order to work into SOC, build a successful career in SOC, lots of keys. So I'll just basically divide them into five key drivers for a SOC success, or for a job in a SOC success outcome. Number one would be outcome. So outcomes will be your relentless time, right? Time taken to basically from your downtime to, we can say, time taken to recover, right? So it majorly depends on the SLA. Every SOC will be having SLA, which will be basically related to one of the priority tasks, that if a given time and if a given problem statement, whether a person is able to solve it or not, right? So that is the outcome. So first of all, look into your outcomes, identify your strengths, what major task you are basically expert at, try to identify that, try to excel in those things, right? So that is the first key which you should be looking into, right? So I would say, I have said this particular line, I believe yesterday or day before yesterday, that the one should be who is willing to work and talk should be jack of all trades, but should excel in one, right? So you should be having your strategic approach in such a way that first thing you will be having a vertical approach, where you do have versatile knowledge about all the tools, all the technologies and everything. And out of those particular things, you need to pick up one thing and you need to deep dive into it and you need to excel that particular thing. Be it mere just a tool like Wireshark. So it's a very good tool, network analysis tool, which basically helps us to look into the entire network traffic, right? So have a look around that what capabilities Wireshark does have and what things we can look into the Wireshark. Get your bits and tips into Wireshark. How does it works? How does it capture packets? What are the details it can help us to look into? So excel in one thing, right? It's not about Wireshark, but you should be excelling in one thing. So that's your outcome. Number two, I would say individual efforts, right? Individual efforts or people, we can say, right? So there are lots of things, right? So in people, I would say there are different categories. You do our L1, right? You do our L2, you do our L3, you are a SOC lead. So you need to understand that different people will be having different tasks. So it's not always that everyone comes with the knowledge to perform every task which is given in SOC, right? So always feel free to reach out to your seniors, right? have a connection with them, ask them that what new you should be learning into, ask them that what is the thing which they should be focusing more into, because since they are working with you, they will be better knowing you that what things you are good at and what things can be improved, right? Always try to take a personal one-to-one feedback to them that how the work is going on from your end and what is next to be expected, what you can look into, right? So this is something which will be helping you to grow as an individual. It's not like that if you do automate 100%, next day your employer will be saying you bye bye, we do not need you. No. If you are automating the task, you are having ample amount of time to focus into new things, right? So people have taken automation, like I have seen people, right? I do train a lot of people all the time, right? So I do have conversation with almost every different type of people working on different segments. From a manager's point of view, automation is necessary in order to basically do the task in a given SLA, given time period, right? And if I do talk about a boss, right, the owner of the company, automation is something which is saving him his money, right? He need not to basically pay someone for 12 months. He can take the person for 3 months, get the things automated, and then he can basically get out of those particular 9 months of no salary given to anyone, right? So boss does have different agenda. Of course, manager will be having an agenda to basically do the task in a given period of time. So now how things are basically going to help us in the way, right? If automation is necessary, how we are going to implement it is something which we need to focus upon, right? So if it's a repeatable task, then automate. It will be saving your resources, individual resources I'm counting on as an analyst. It will be sharing your resources that you can focus on to new tools, new technologies, and how you can make that particular automation more efficient, more effective, right? So always focus on the automation. Guys, I'm covering this particular point out of the blue, not related to any particular thing, but something which is currently focusing, the market is focusing upon, right? So we are talking about those points. Fourth point, to build up a successful career, pick up a framework. Once you have taken a problem statement, let's say X is my problem statement, and to approach X, I do have one, two, three, four, five, these things to do. Now, how I can implement this particular problem statement into my different roles, right? Different roles that I can ask person A to do this, person B to do this, person C to do this. So I can overall create something out of it, and that output can help me to solve 60% or let's say 90% of my task. So framework is actually something where you take up the problem statement, like what we do on MITRE. MITRE, it's a database, right? MITRE attack framework, it's a database, isn't it? So when we do a MITRE attack as a database, we just go around that database. We do try to find out the information, right? We try to find out the information or the intelligence regarding the attacker's behavior, isn't it? That's what we do. Attacker's behavior, we do try to find out the information. So take up a framework, create a problem statement, and build one time repository or build one time framework which can always solve that type of problem statement. So you might be thinking that can we call a framework as a run book? So I would say no. Run book is basically something, a to-do list. If this happens, let's say in case of fire, call on this particular number. That's a what a playbook or a run book says, right? What I am talking about up over here is create a framework which can solve, let's say, n number of problem statements, right? So if you do need this, we can go over there, we can do this work, and we can get it done. So these type of things you should follow, either follow a particular framework or create your own for your problem statement and do up over there. And make sure you work on your visibility while working in SOC or to build up your successful SOC. Visibility is very important, guys, right? And this visibility point of view I'm talking about, you can individually create, right? So do one thing, try to create a LinkedIn profile. I believe we are 30 participants, 31 participants up over here. So almost everyone is on LinkedIn, right? Try to connect to people, guys. Show your visibility. Whatsoever you are reading, why don't you take out a minute or two, you go through LinkedIn and you just paste it out, right? It's not basically something copyright which I'm asking you to paste. But let's say you are reading SOC models and go on LinkedIn, type few keywords or share a infographics by tagging that particular company or link which you are reading and say that this is one of the good blogs which I got to know regarding the SOC models, which gives us the overview of these particular models, which helps a lot. Or try to run your own projects. Mostly people you might have seen, right? They do have their GitHubs. So whatsoever project they are creating, if you do have a problem statement, solve that problem statement, record it, put it on your GitHub. So this visibility will be helping you to basically get people knowing you, right? It's not bad to connect to someone, right? You go on LinkedIn, create a target that in next 1 month I'm going to add 5,000 people who are working in cybersecurity, and I will be basically showing my visibility up over there, right? Go ahead, add the people, let them know that what you are doing, right? So if you will be having a good visibility, then there will be someday some sort of people who is basically connected to you but does not knows you is going to text you. Reason, he might be thinking that this particular guy or this particular girl is basically doing lots of things into SOC. He basically keeps sharing these new infos, new things about that. It's always not have to be guys latest or new, right? So try to share it up over there so people will see your work, they will definitely come to you. I would say try to go ahead for visibility, right? So visibility will be the part where you will be showcasing yourself, right? So these are like few of the factors which might help us, right? The few key drivers which might help us. Because if we do have, it's not necessary always to have visibility. There are two things which work side by side, visibility and skills, right? So if you do have a good visibility, you should be showcasing those particular skills which you have learned. And in case if you do not want to do that, then there are basically the chances that you should be pretty much strong in terms of your skills. So whenever you are going to interview, you should be able to answer that. So I will be focusing upon how to deal with the interview questions and everything. We'll be talking about that. Like this was one of the things which I wanted to share. And you all do know the functions of SOC, what SOC does, right? So feel free to basically get in touch with people who are already working in SOC, try to learn new things from them, ask them questions, right? Go ahead, put up a question on LinkedIn. What is the worst case scenario? They are not going to reply you, right? But if you text 10 persons who are working in SOC, I'm not talking about directly go to the manager, go for the technical people. Like you try to find SOC leads, try to find L3 managers, try to find L2 people, try to find L1 people, ask about their experience, right? Put up a question to them, see what they do reply. If one person do replies you 100% in a week, if you do this particular practice for a week, in 1 week you will get a person who is going to reply you, who's going to sit with you, who's going to basically talk with you that okay, this is the thing, I can help you with that particular part, right? You should be starting with this particular website, go ahead, read these things, come back to me, I'll tell you more. These type of things, right? So there are lots of people out there who can do this work. It's not always to learn, right? Willingness to do the task, willingness to learn, willingness to upgrade, willingness to understand, willingness to basically do anything. Shock is what? It's just like we do have a digital cop, right, who is watching around the entire thing in order to secure that particular thing. So your primary roles might be different. You will be doing different. Like if you just search upon this particular things that how to get a job in SOC or how to build up a successful career in SOC, is career successful in SOC or what, you'll get couple of Quora links, 100% on Google. You will get couple of Quora links where people who are working in SOC have shared their experience. Now some people have shared their experience that I'm working for 2.5 years and this is my package. SOC is one of the highest paying jobs, good paying jobs. You learn new things every day. Because guys, yesterday, remember, you all remember we did discuss one point. How's a day for a SOC analyst in SOC, right? How's a life, a day of life for a SOC analyst? Yes or no? No. not every 2 days will be same for a particular analyst. Your day one would be different, day two would be different. Day one you receive lots of tickets regarding the ransomware and all. Day two you will not receive anything, maybe not in particularly something. Day three you receive something related to web application incident. Day four you receive something related to again malwares. Day five again on networks. So no 2 days are similar for a person in working in SOC. So it's basically willingness to adapt those particular things. Now, that is one point, willingness. Another point which I'll try to add up over there, which you will be pretty much looking, you should be pretty much looking into is to do the task, right? Task oriented approach, right? Task oriented approach. It's not always like you have to complete the task, you have to do the task. No. Let's say if your manager comes to you and they ask you that there is this particular task, this particular work, which is not something which you do already know, right? A new task for you, something which a problem which you have never encountered, a new task given to you, and they say that can you basically do this particular work and give it back to me in 2 to 3 hours? So lots of people will say that yes, I'll do that. No, I cannot do that. This is something new to me. I need more resources to learn about it. Then I will be able to do, right? So have a task oriented approach, guys. Task oriented approach. We can say that you can say that these things. I can give it a try. Give me this particular task. I can give it a try. Take that task. Dig your head into. Learn few things if you have to learn, right? In order to do that thing, and try to basically accomplish that activity. It's not if your manager is giving you something new which is not basically related to your field. That means they do not want 100% out of you, right? Even if you give that 40 or 60% efforts, it will be counted as 100%, right? So this is something which you should be again focusing into, right? So these things you can focus into. Now, I would say so. This is something which I have seen, right? I have taken couple of SOC interviews as well. I have basically been into couple of SOC interviews as well, and I have seen a lot of people who are giving the interviews who share their experience with me, and I am into touch with the people who take the interviews as well, being on the other side, that is the driver seat, what type of things they do prefer and what type of things they do see. And if I have to give a number, they have said me that 55% of the time, if a particular person is coming to give the interview, he's coming unprepared. Unprepared in the sense that he's not understanding the entire job description, what is given to them. He's just coming with the definition. So guys, one simple example, if your interviewer asks you what is ransomware, so how you are going to define, or let's not talk about ransomware, what is malware? If this is an interview question, how you are going to respond, right? So these are guys couple of things which will be helping you to build up a successful career in SOC, right? Though we are going to, it's not just like topic, we are not going to talk about it. This is something which entire today's session is all about, right? So to build up a successful career in SOC, we will be talking about more things in next coming slides, right? Now, most common pitfalls. This is something, the errors which you should not do, right? Pitfalls are something which we always should be avoiding, right? We should never fall into the pitfalls. One thing which I have noticed, most of us basically have CVs, right? CVs we do share. So whom do you prefer, guys, to share your CV? Let's say you want to get a job in the company. Whom do you prefer to get to give the CV to in a company which you want to work? Apart from the opening portals up over there, if there is a uh, LinkedIn people, you know, couple of LinkedIn peoples inside the company, and if you are trying to basically give your CV to those people, what do you think? To whom you should be giving your CV to? First of all, HR, these are not the technical people, right? So almost if anyone who is starting their career, right? A person, let's say, who is done as BTech and then has done certain certificates to specialize now, knows the things, wants to have an entry level job in SOC, right? I'm saying 0 years of experience person. Now, if that person goes around and shares its CV to HR, is HR going to immediately give him in the interview call, or is HR is considering that CV? I would say 95% of the time, no. Reason, HR are not technical persons, right? HR are not the technical persons. So as I mentioned that you should be building your approach in order to connect to people who are basically already working in the industry where you want to work. So the reason would be, if you do create your CV, just give it to the person who is working up over there and ask him that, hi, I'm looking for a job in SOC, and if you do have any open positions in your organization, and if you can refer this particular CV to your team, it would be very grateful. I would like to do the interview for your company, right? So share it to the SOC lead, share it to the, basically I would say, technical L3 people, L2 people, because they are the technical persons, right? They do know the technical in and out. So what requires to be basically work in SOC analyst, right? Analyst, if I do talk about SOC analyst, what requires the willingness to investigate, the willingness to find out the things up over there, right? So it's not basically the skills which you are bringing into the company, it's basically the approach of solving the task, solving the problems, right? If a given work, whether you will be able to do it or not, that's what basically company majorly looks into. Skills of course does matters, it's not like that skill does not matters. Skill does matters. I will be also talking about the point where certificates, do they really matter? So we will be talking about that particular part. So CV is basically look after the person to whom you are sharing the CVs. The better, the more connection you do have, the more people you do know in the work company, right? So share your resume with those particular people who are already doing the work up out there. They will definitely read your CV and they will be getting to know that what all things basically you have done and whether it's worth it to interview or not, right? So if it is worth it, they are definitely going to pass that particular CV to their concerned persons, that hey, I do know this particular person from LinkedIn, I do have his profile, and I believe he seems to be fit for this particular position with us, right? So let's do take an interview for him. So this type of thing basically might be helping you to get a better job rather than going with the HR, because it's not basically the problem with HRs, right? HRs basically are non-technical person. They do have a checklist, right? They will be checking your profile whether you do have that checklist or not. If not, they will be simply dropping you, no matter whether you do have your skills or not. Let's say a job says that you need a CH certificate. Now you do know that you do have more knowledge than CH certificate, but if HR says that it's not a CH certified, they might be dropping you. So the details in CV, which I would suggest. So guys, most of you might have noticed that in CV people generally do write that my hobbies are to listening to music, to play this, to go on tracks, to do this work, to do this work. I am a good cook, things like that. Personal things they do also write that I am married, I am not married, these type of things. Trust me, guys, no one is bothering that whether you are married or not, right? It's a gender neutral job where they are not looking for the person who is married or not. They're looking for the person. So avoid personal details in your CV, right? No personal details at all. No one needs to basically see that personal details. Add technical points. I believe, Mr. Emmanuel, the points which I'm mentioning, it might be basically help you that what you should be adding into your CV and what you should not be adding into your CV, right? So go for those technical and the professional achievements you have done, right? Write those particular, let's say, certificates if you do have, write the projects which you have undergone through, the things which you have created, which you have given back to the industry. Let's say you have taken a workshop or a seminar or a webinar regarding any particular thing. So give up those particular things, which will be telling the more about you with the work which you have done in your past, which tells your career up till the part you're joining for the new person, right? So add more technical points, technical things that you have worked upon Wireshark. So you can write like network traffic analyzing with Wireshark, right? Professional points, your achievements, your degrees, your certificates, of course, these things. So these type of things you should be entering into, right? And show your projects and skills, which I already mentioned, guys, right? Projects and skills are basically one of the major points which you should be looking into. So this approach, if you guys do give, trust me, it won't be that much hard for you to get a job in SOC, because demand is there, jobs are there, scarcity is there. That means supply to that demand is not there. So what we are missing, there is one simple word which we are missing, is skills. And if you are looking for something which is like a cheat sheet to get a job in SOC, trust me, you will be getting scammed. Lots of scammers are there these days online. You can find the websites where they will say that take our training. It's just 15,000 bucks and you will be basically getting a job in SOC. We will be preparing you for the interview. We will be scheduling a couple of interviews for you. But trust me, these kind of cheat sheets, small courses, these are not going to help you anywhere. It's not, I'm saying that it's not, trainings are not bad. I am myself a trainer and a mentor, right? Trainings are never bad. What you should be looking into before going into the training, check the trainer's profile, go through the trainer's LinkedIn, see what trainers generally do post, what trainers basically have teach into, right? Research about the person, talk to the person, ask them your points, clarify your doubts, and ask them whether these things basically will be helping you or not. And if you are satisfied with the content and the trainer, absolutely go for it, right? Because see, training is not always the option, and training isn't something which you should be missing into, right? So trainings you should be taking up when you do not have basically the resources with you to learn in a streamlined way, right? So what we do offer in training, right? We do have already the crisp content being created to give it up to all of you guys so that you can basically get the best things, right? You do not have to go through 10,000 resources to find it out and to learn. We have already done it for you. All you are over here to learn, right? So do this particular part. Yes, absolutely. Let me know your doubt. Let's say, guys, you have attended X training, right? X training teached you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, right? In which you have basically seen the person working on Splunk showing you use cases. You also did it. The person working on Wireshark doing the same things, right? So, of course, trainings will be showing you certain practical points, right? So, the best part where you do not have SOC certifications, you do not have real life SOC experience, but you have seen what things were there in SOC while in the training. Yes or no? So you might have seen that, okay, the trainer said that SOC basically uses Wireshark for network traffic analysis. You have undergone through it, you have done certain challenges. Let's say the trainer gave you the ransomware network traffic, and then you did find out the ransomware file out of that particular ransomware traffic, right? So that is something basically a point which you can write into your resume, right? uh, if I do talk about from the interviewers point of view, mostly interviewers, if any of them are over here, you guys would be agreeing with me that certificates are the mandatory processes for HR but not for the interviewers. If job was based upon only on certificate, based upon your certificate, if you do have, the people would have directly hired you, no interview would have been taken, right? So the reason interview is sitting up over there is to see whether the certificate skill which you have mentioned, are you capable enough of doing it or not, right? So things which you write into your resume where you have to basically showcase the things, you can basically go for your projects. Let's say you can say that I do have basically this particular YouTube channel where I have done entire Wireshark network traffic analysis, right? It's not necessary to be a YouTube channel, right? You can basically go for projects which you have built up, right? That just like this, I have basically built up a particular use case or a particular, let's say, run book that in case of a ransomware or a malicious file or a malware file being detected inside a network traffic, this is how my run book can basically take out that particular file, can get the file's hash, and can verify it on these 5 portals. This is something which I have created. So small things, guys, which you accomplish, right? During the training, if you do not have done the certificate, but the training, you can add those particular points to your CVs, resumes. It will be helping you, right? So the points again to mention in your resumes, no personal details, technical details, professional points to be included in your CV. Show your projects, show your skills. If you do have certificates, show them. Mention what you have learned under this certificate, what skill set you have gained with this particular certificate, or I would say if it's training, what skills you have gained with this training, right? So later down the line, I'm going to guys tell you that if there is a training, there will be always a course of content, right? The trainings content. So take up that particular trainings content, pick up the points which you have done practically, theoretically, and have the concept and the knowledge and the hands-on experience of that concept. Copy and paste the same thing up over there, which was in your table of content. Definitely it's going to be help you, right? And third part, which I would like to add, during the interviews, always work on your soft skills, right? Never use words like it depends, right? Let's say an interviewer asks you that which one is one of the in Windows, which file is one of the most critical files. So never give your answer like it depends on the scenario. So if an interviewer is sitting up over there, he's definitely going to ask you, it depends on what? It depends on what kind of things. So never basically give a random guesses, I would say. Take a minute or two, understand the question, build up an example and give that example, right? Rather than saying that it can be like this, it can be like this, uh, it is something which I have seen in my past company. Not like that. Take an example. Worst case scenario is that example is wrong, right? But you have given something which you have 100% thinking of that concept. So that day you will be learning two things: what you were basically thinking is correct, whatever you were basically thinking for that concept is not correct. And interviewer might basically correct you that this thing which you mentioned, it does not works like this, it works like this. So you learned a new thing, or you learned that this thing which you think is good. So you will be always remembering that particular point, right? So these things basically you should be walking into. Never ignore your soft skills and your presentation, guys. So if it's a virtual interview, it's never meant to be set in t-shirt and basically give an interview that it's just a casual meeting. It's just a round one. Always be presentable, I would say. I have generally seen people like these days interviews are not basically in the offices and all, right? I've seen people who basically are being called for interview. Yes, it's a casual meet, but you should be a presentable person. You are up over there for looking an opportunity. So professionalism comes from the first presentation which you give. Like the person is going to remember you after the interview as well. That I saw a person who was presented like this, and that image will be inside his mind up till the time he's hiring you, right? So the first thing which you give is your presentation, and it should be a good one. So look into that, go for your soft skills. Never use words like like, it depends, I guess, these type of things. Avoid them, right? I believe that I also do talk about the same things when I'm taking the training, right? So I do have basically something which I do say correct, am I right? So these are the words which everyone should be working into. Uh, Work onto your soft skills. It's not basically something which is hard, but will be giving you at least like it will be setting up the enthusiasm for the interviewer also to ask the questions. Because if you do say, if you give any point to your interviewer where you are saying that it depends whether it can happen or not, if you can give me more detail, I can help you. Why interviewer will be going to give you your more details, right? He wants your approach to basically create the details, right? So never ask for more details. Take up that question which is being given to you. If it's not understandable to you or audible to you, then you can ask that I was not able to hear you clearly. So can you tell me one more time? That is fine. But asking that, can you give me more details like what you are exactly asking? I'm not able to get you. Interviewer basically will be thinking that this was something straightforward because he already knows the answer, right? Now you do not know the answers, so he will be basically changing the question. Okay, let's talk about something else, and you might miss something which you were not ready to learn, right? So these are, guys, few of the pitfalls. And apart from apart from it, straightforward answers in interview will be helping you. Take that scenario, build upon real examples, and then basically give your answers. So these are like few of the common pitfalls which you can avoid, right? There are lots of them, I would say. Whenever you are in an interview, you will be always facing that things are basically like you will always, I'll tell you two steps to basically crack into the interview, right? First thing, always basically answer the questions in a crisp, in a solidatory way, where you have given one liners for the needful answers and detailed answers for the needful answers, right? Never basically speak much because you're taking up your precious time of your entire interview, right? So never speak a lot, I would say, in interview if not necessary. You have to speak up when your interviewer gives you the scenario. And the point when your interviewer gives you the scenario, consider yourself 50% in that company. They are going to hire you because you are halfway done. Scenario is the only when Scenarios are there only when the interviewer is interested in you, right? He has asked you question: what is malware, what is defense in depth, what is DHCP, what is private IP, public IP, what is SaaS. He's asked you the questions, you have given the answers. Now he says that okay, let's do take up a scenario. If you find a particular email in which there is an attachment which is a unknown, like you do not know that particular attachment, that what type of file it is, it's a .spr file. So what is the first approach you are going to do with that particular file? So he has given the word, let's take up a scenario. That means consider yourself 50% in. Now take a take a minute or two. It's not like that. You will say that if it's a SPR file, then I can think like this, that it might be a malicious file and I can take it to IDSIP. I can take it to, let's say, some sort of malware websites. I can check its reputation and all. Do not give that type of answer. Just think upon a situation that you can think upon something like this. You can say that yes, there will be email gateway security which will be in place, where a sandbox area will be given to open up all the attachments. I'll not directly open up the attachment, but I'll test that attachment with my currently inline intelligence tools to tell me if it's a known malicious software or not. If it will be not, I'll basically dig around and research about more about that particular type of file, and I'll read the email and I'll understand the case that why this particular file has been attached with that email. And if seems to be relevant, I will be understanding, or I will be basically going through it, that whether I have to take that file to my system or I can dump that email, right? Give your answers up over there, what you have to do. Now your interviewer might be saying that no, this is not something you would have done. You could do this particular thing very much easily. You could download it, run it and check it. For say the interviewer says like that, right? So at least you are learning something new if you are wrong. But if you are not wrong, that means you can think of that, okay, this is the way which I which can be done if a task is being given like this. So you already learned how to do your job in one position, right? So these common type of pitfalls, guys, we should be always trying to avoid. It's not basically something which is always being avoided in one go, but something which you all can focus on to. We are getting, guys, n number of results. If I just put up short SOC interview questions, can you see the numbers up over there? Like these much of results. Even if I am halfway of it, let's divide it by 50. That only 50% links will be telling us the actual contents and 50% are fake. Let's say take it 10%, right? Take it 10% of these particular results. So interview preparation questions you are going to get a lot, right? We at InfosecTrain are already having a blog which we have written back in 2020, right? 2 years back. I've shared the link in chat. You can still visit this particular website. You can still read the questions and the answers from here. I'm not promoting something. There are basically organizations outside who have basically written up this particular part, that what are basically different interview questions, right? Like interview questions related to SOC and all. If you want, I can give you the resources, the PDF books, which does have basically lots of interview questions in SOC, right? So it's not about getting the questions, it's about like preparation checklist, how you should be preparing. So I'll just basically tell you guys couple of points, though there it will be taking me the entire night, but still it won't end, that what you should be learning, right? So I'll just basically talk about the basic things, right? So with the first basic thing which you should be having in your preparation checklist, that you should be prepared for networking fundamentals. Half of the things, guys, are basically something which you are doing, but if the word given, you will say, no, I do not know that, right? I haven't basically done that. Let's say a person, if I do talk about that, you should be knowing about the networking part, like LAN and all. A person says that no, I haven't done basically this particular thing. You generally do that, right? You do file transfer from one system to another. You connect all of the systems to one system. That's basically a local network, right? You transfer a file from one laptop to another laptop via LAN, right? So these are already the activities. If you are from IT, I would say, so if you are from IT, and a bit of security. Even if not a bit of security, some of the cyber security things like networking fundamentals you're already doing, right? IT basically lets you do this particular part. So you should be learning networking fundamentals. What you should be learning under networking fundamentals? You should be basically learning things like OSI model, right? I'll just write the keywords. You can go for things like OSI model. Very important because that is something which is the very basic, right? Go for OSI model, go for concepts like defense in depth, right? Defense in depth. Go for things like this. So defense in depth, let's say being given a question defense in depth, what it is, right? People generally do have different answers. I always do say that cyber security, or I would say security, and you have been asked to basically secure your home, right? Give the security to your home. So what first thing you already have done? You have built up the walls, right? Four walls where you can surround yourself from others. Surround yourself and avoid someone coming to your place, right? Then it's, are you 100% secure? No, right? So what you do have, you have basically created a gate and you have added a lock onto gate. But still, are you 100% secure? No. Then you added an additional measure. What you did was you went to up through your roof. You checked it out if anyone can basically attack you from the roof. So what you did was you build up another gate up over there and have a lock up over there. Now you secured yourself, but still are you 100% secure? No, right? So what next you do is you take a guard who is sitting outside and who is preventing any unauthorized person coming into your house. So are you 100% secure now? Of course not, right? So these type of things, you are having an additional measure every time to basically reach to what? Security, to basically get yourself secure. So security is an always an additional measure, and that's what this defense in depth basically says, right? That you should be having security at each level. So what overall you are getting if you are not able to get 100% security, right? What overall you are getting? You are seeing that your architecture is basically now getting more stronger, right? In order to prevent from the attacker has to bypass the guard, then bypass the gate, and whatsoever lock you have done, and then came inside, right? So you have basically given, of course, a layered protection, you can say, right? So defense in depth concepts like these, small concepts, but have lots of knowledge. Of course, in an interview, 100% you are going to have a question around OSI or a DoD, defense of depth or defense in depth. 100%, mark my word. So you are going to have a word. So networking fundamentals needed to be strong. No matter whether you are from sales background, no matter whether you are from another background, GRC background, you are a fresher. These are points, guys, which I am adding that what you should be majorly focusing on to and will be helping you to build upon that, right? First point is network fundamentals, right? Second one is learn about OS, operating systems, right? Most importantly, I would say Windows and Linux. I would have only said Linux. There is a reason. Then I'll talk about Windows. So Linux, the reason, lots of tools which you will be seeing in SOC are basically working on one or the other version of Linux, right? Are working upon one or the other version of Linux. So that makes it very important to basically get your Linux skill upgraded. So there are lots of things, right? Easy Linux. It's a good book which you can go through almost 3 to 400 pages. You can look into that book. If you do complete, you never have to Google around that what command line tool, what command line I have to use, what command I have to use in order to get this particular task. Let's say what cat will be doing, what strings will be doing, how I'm going to open a file, how I'm going to delete a file, how I'm going to kill a process. Everything will be covered from that book, right? So look around the resources, right? Why Linux? I already have told you lots of tools work upon Linux. So if you are doing it on your day one, uh, the name of the book is Easy Linux. Easy Linux. Lots of them are there, right? Linux fundamentals are there, Easy Linux is there. So you can have a look around, right? And apart from it, guys, I would suggest you to basically go for OS. Linux architecture, if you go for it, if you do understand it, From day one, if you are working on it, the day if you will be asked for a job to do in Linux, it will be very easy for you because you already have learned that particular thing. So that makes it very important, right? Go for Linux and Windows, guys. Now, if I do talk about Windows, I believe out of 37 people over here, including me, can anyone say that they have never used Windows? And that's fine. That's where the learning comes. That's where I'm going to help you today with this particular session, which will be helping you to understand that what you should be doing into, right? So if you look into the Windows registries, almost you will be finding machine-wide settings, configuration data, almost everything which is there in Windows, that settings and data you can find it in registries, right? Apart from it, Windows CLI, especially the CLI part, you should be knowing that what all tasks which you can do with GUI, you should be knowing how to do it with CLI as well. Because when nothing is working, CLI still would be working and you can have a task being done with CLI. Like you guys might be knowing that Windows does have a safe mode, right? Where you can log into the Windows and there will be no GUI, there will be CLI and you can do your work and you can get it done, right? If your system is not working corrupted, so you can basically log into the safe mode and you can still do the task or work. So at that time, that knowledge of CLI would be helping you a lot, which will be basically doing the work, right? So you should be knowing OS. Two major things which I wanted to talk about: your OS, network fundamentals. Though we are going to talk about other things a lot. So like I referred a book for Linux, I would refer a book for Windows also. So just Google it around, Windows System Internals. You will find Windows Sys internal website. Go through that. It's an open source book. I would say it's a book free to download for everyone. Download that particular PDF file, and that thing, if you do complete, you do know Windows, right? You do know the CLI and you do know that how to basically get that particular task done via CLI. So that's a very good book. I would suggest everyone to basically go ahead, complete that, read that, or at least refer to your problem statements. Like that book will be telling you the actual power of Windows, right? That what Windows is capable of doing. So that is, guys, the second thing: network fundamentals, OS knowledge. So be it from any field, if you are looking to switch your job into cybersecurity, or I would say especially into SOC, these things are going to help you. If you do have the networking basics, one thing. If you do have OS, go for Windows and Linux, right? Of course, there are lots of resources. We are living in the informational era where information is freely available. It just takes a person to go ahead and find it out, right? So I would suggest you guys to basically spend your time. See, this is something which I have never seen a interviewer does ask, and I have never seen a person being bothering of, right? If you are not good at basically finding out what best thing suits to you, what best thing to refer or to find or to read, I would say this is where you should be working upon, right? Just like I take the example, there are many books on easy Linux hard to find, right? So of course, Easy Linux is basically something which is one book I have referred to you. But if you look around the top 10 links which you are getting, you might get your answers also, and you might get something better than that also, right? There's always a chance. Windows System Internals. The book's name is Windows System Internals, so you can have a look into it. So these are the things. Apart from it, guys, after network fundamentals and OS, what more we can look into? Like this is something which 100%, if interview is a technical person and he wants to hire you, this is 100% interviewer is going to ask you that what open source tool. When an interviewer asks that what open source tool you have worked on to, you can basically do one thing, that you can tell them that I have used, let's say, Wireshark to basically do practice upon network traffic analysis, where I have analyzed malware traffics related to ransomwares, traffics related to insider threats, traffics related to DDoS attacks. So this is basically going to help the interviewer to frame up his questions regarding these things, right? Absolutely, that's good. Very good, Aditya. So look around the open source tools, right? I'll give you all one tool, right? Which I would suggest you all should be working upon. I would suggest you all after this particular SOC series, at least download Zeek. It's a free and open source tool which will be helping you to go for your entire network analysis, network topics, network security. We do call it network security monitoring. So download, install Zeek, understand how does it works, and try to monitor your internal traffic. Let's say you are on a home, right? On Wi-Fi, lots of devices are connected. So download Zeek. You do not have to do anything which is very much technical. Just read about some blogs that how to install Zeek. It will be very easy. A wizard installation is there, and then learn how to monitor the traffic and do it for your home network. I'm not going you to go for in-depth use cases like ransomware traffic and all. That is something for later down the line you can use. But go for your home traffic, and then you might have your I would say family using Facebook, someone using YouTube, someone visiting some things, someone downloading some apps. Just see what kind of capture it is capable of doing and try to analyze how to read that particular part. So this is something which is going to help you, right? So build upon your guys, your own use cases, try to see what things are there from the open source side of things. Of course, companies won't be using open source tools, right? If they have to use, they will be using a licensed part of open source tool. So, of course, you might not be working on open source tool, but that gives the interviewer the visibility which you are basically trying to create, right? That okay, the person knows these open source tools, so he might be basically easily able to work upon these tools, right? Which will be the alternatives of those open source like commercial tools. If you have the dedication, you won't basically count the time, I would say. So yes, there are lots of things. As I mentioned, we are in an informational era, and this is where, guys, trust me, trainings do help, right? If you are stuck anywhere that what I am going to do, this is lots of things, this is just like a ocean, which drop I should pick up, this is where trainings do help, right? They have precise the content, they have done that homework for you, and they are teaching you the actual stuff. So at that time, if you are not able to find out what things are going to help you, go for a training, I would say. See, and always try, I would say, guys, one thing which you should be always doing, right? Try to show your gratitude. Like, if you want to basically learn, it's not always the trainer you should be going for. Find a person who is already working on that thing, right? Who is already working on that thing, and ask him whether he can sit with you on in his week off, Saturday, Sunday, and ask him whether if he do paid sessions or not. Take his time, take his 1 hour time, ask him, pay him if he wants to basically sit with you and he is having that paid sessions, right? Take 1 hour of time, pay him and learn about it. Learn what he's doing, what queries you do have, how you basically get that particular thing. Because see, everyone is having one thing in mind that they want to earn, right? Money is basically something which matters. We do say money matters, right? So of course, the person if he's giving willing to basically give his time to basically sit with him with you on his week offs, he might be basically having something. So create a win-win situation for both, which might be benefiting you and the other person, right? Or else look around the trainers, talk to them what you want to learn. They will guide you. Look around the mentors. There are lots of people online who basically are there saying that they do help you, right? So I'll give you guys two websites. The website's name is first one is Active Countermeasures. The first website's name is Active Countermeasures. So you do have lots of three things up over there on activecountermeasures.com. It's all together. Free tools are there, hunting tools are there. I'm just giving you that particular thing. Free hunting tools are there. There is a test drive. So lots of things are there. You can look into that. There is a course as well which will be guiding you towards for various different tools, right? Basics, not that much in detail in depth, but small basic things which is going to help you down the line, right? So look around that. And then second thing which I will be suggesting you all is, so look into that, right? This is one website, Active Countermeasures is another, Black Hills is third. So over here you will find small courses, their demos free of cost, right? And people are basically over here having trainings like pay as much as you can kind of things, right? So it is something for pay what you can training sort of things. So it does not, if you are willing to pay $1, give it $1. If you're not willing to pay, do not pay. If you are willing to pay $100, depends on that. Black Hill Infosec is exactly doing the same thing, and just like this particular Wild West Hacking Fest is doing. So you can look into these particular things, right? So lots of free things are there. If it takes guys to give the money, but you do know that you will be able to get the things out of it, never basically feel ashamed of doing that, right? Keep your ego aside, learn the things from the people, right? Ask them to share their experience, their time with you. This is where actual learning will be helping you, right? And if any training, I would say not just mine, right? This session, if it does helps you, or if any other training basically does helps you, which you have taken, take out couple of minutes, write a write something about it on your LinkedIn or on your profile, tag that particular person, and let them know that things which they are doing is helping people like you to get the things right. So that is something which you should be doing. If you know that John Strand is a very famous person, he's not going to help you, right? That's fine. But the videos he has created, if it helped you, put it on LinkedIn that this is a video series. Give the link which you have seen from John Strand, tag that person, and let them know that this is something which has helped you. Let's say after this particular session, if anyone gets a job in SOC, and if this session is able to help you a bit, of course, feel free to share that particular thing. Show the people things like that, because if people are giving online free resources, it's basically that something that is non-profitable which they are doing, right? So let them basically do this particular thing. Spread the word of mouth for them. It will be helping someone like just like you who is looking for something and might get help, right? And the person who is creating the stuff, he will be knowing that this is something which I am doing is helping the people, right? Apart from it, guys, like these are the things which will be from the interview point of view. I would like you to all cover network fundamentals, OS basics, open source tools, right? These are the things which I want you to look into. Apart from it, this is not just for interview, guys. This is something which is going to help you. LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is a very useful tool, I would say. So you should be basically adding lots of people up over there. Not, I'm saying that spam the people up over there, but try to add the people. Let's say you want to work in SOC, look around the people who are already working in SOC, send them connection request. Some might accept it, some might not accept it. Do not feel ashamed. Try to add more and more people, and then basically see what work they are doing, what things they are sharing, what perception they do have for that particular job which you are already looking into. If you read the Quora, you will read that. I'll just tell you one small example of SOC, right? So while basically helping someone for SOC, I read a Quora blog about there where there was a lady who was saying that I'm working into SOC from last, I have worked SOC into last some couple of months, and what I have noticed is SOC is not helping me to grow into my career, and rather I was having health issues due to working in shifts and all those particular parts. Sometimes you have to work in day, in night, and all. And I have seen the another person who is basically working in SOC currently. from last 3 years and saying that it's not basically something which is affecting my health and all these things. So there was a debate going on. So rather than basically going into these particular parts, actually reach out the person, ask him his personal views, ask him his pros and cons, right? So these things will be helping you. And LinkedIn, if you do share the things, people might see your work, might come to you, right? And this is something which will be helping you to basically make the connects, which might basically take you to your next job as well, right? Lots of people have created. If it's an open source tool, you name the tool, you will be basically having lots of videos on YouTube. Take out your time. Time you have to invest if you want to self learn. Let's say I do talk about SOAR. None of us might be knowing how to use SOAR, right? Or some of us might be also knowing. If you go around on YouTube and just search about SOAR, let's say Splunk Phantom, it's an open source SOAR, right? So search upon that how to basically create a playbook in a Splunk Phantom, right? How to get started with Splunk Phantom. Of course, you have in an initial point you might be looking into lots of people's video, but at a some point, if you keep following that particular thing, you might be knowing that yes, this is the best person who can basically help into the Splunk video, right? Like the guy I was talking about, John Strand. How many of you guys do know him? So he's one of the persons, like he basically gives you lots of things in terms of notes, contents. We do have one of our own team members. I do have one of my colleagues, Prab Nair. He's sharing lots of things up over there. Even I myself try to add as much as I can do for the community by taking lots of things over the public and sharing them, telling them how it's being done. So always try to find something, find someone whom you can follow, whom you can from whom you can learn. It's not necessary to have a one-on-one things with them, but see what contents do they have, right? Like I do follow one person whose name is Jose Bravo, right? If I do have anything in Curador, if I am stucking anywhere in Curador, I do know. See, I have researched a lot to get this name, Jose Bravo, right? I was earlier having lots of other people's videos looking into that. I was looking into lots of things up over there. But in the end, I did got a person. Now I do not have to look everywhere. Of course, Jose Bravo does not share every video which I want to look into. But anywhere if I am strucking in IBM Corridor, I go to his channel and I will find something related to that thing. If not that exact thing, something other which is something similar to that. So I can build up my mindset that okay, this is how it's being done, right? So these type of things, of course, internet, it's an ocean, it will be having lots of things. So that's why we do say half of the work is done if you are good enough in Googling things, right? So brush up your Googling skills. That is first thing which I would say. That is the research. In this informational era, everything is available. It just takes you a good search to find it out. So first thing, apart from learning anything, learn how to find out the good things for you, how it works. If it takes to connect to people, connect with them, ask them for their time, and get it done, right? So guys, prerequisites in SOC, if I do talk about prerequisites in SOC, it will be again as we discussed, right? Lots of things. You should be having networking knowledge, OS knowledge. You should be knowing what kind of things will be there, right? If I do talk about interviews, if I do talk about interview questions, they might ask you around some things which are basics, like they might be asking you about TCP flags, ICMP headers, ICMP, TCP, UDP. They might be talking about DNS, how it works, right? Difference between TCP and UDP, DHCP. So these type of basic network fundamentals, right? And apart from it, read about some things which are mentioned in job description. So wherever you are applying, you should have a JD for that, right? Job description for that. Understand what exactly they do want the person to work, right? Not 100% they will be looking into a person who does have everything which is written in job description. At least you should be a match of 60 to 70%. If you are good enough with that, go for that thing, right? self analyze yourself that okay, these are the things. If I do know them, first thing. If not, how I can learn. Second thing, if I can do that or not, if I want to do that or not. Then basically schedule your time, go for that thing, explain yourself, try to be precise and concise, and then let the person speak, let him basically bring out the main key points. Only worst case is rejection, right? You will be learning from that particular interview. That will be a counter questions for you for your next interview, right? So that is something which might be helping you a lot. So lots of interview questions are already there on internet. I would not basically take things out from those interview questions and ask you that what is DMZ, what is defense in depth, what is cyber kill chain. Of course, lots of things are already there. So you might be knowing that particular things already. What I'm focusing upon, which you might not find it on internet in one place. So tools, technology is something. Keep self upgrading yourself. I'll give you guys couple of websites. There is website like Try Hack Me, right? Register onto that. There is website like Blue Team Labs Online, BTLO. Register onto that, right? Immersive labs are there. Register onto that. It's all blue teaming websites where you can basically work onto. Hack the box absolutely is there, right? You do have a range force which is there, a good website. Cyber defenders, let's defend, n number of websites are there. So try to brush up your skills, right? Range force, let's defend, cyber defenders. So try to brush up your skills. Always try to basically do things practically. Read the theory first, take out 10 websites, read the theory first, and then learn how to basically do it practically, right? And of course, guys, the major point, prerequisites in SOC, are certifications necessary? Like, you all might be seeing mostly the interviewers or the job description says the certificates, right? That CH is a mandatory certificate. We do need CH. Of course, industry standard things basically are there. Now it's being a standard that minimum the skills are being required. So that's why people do say CH, or that's why people do say that I want to do the, you should be having this certificate or this certificate like that. But I would never suggest you guys to do a certificate directly random in vain. If people are doing, let's do it. If it's popular, let's do it. Right? So let's not basically do it like that. Try to basically understand whether that job is asking you for that particular job skills are asking you to get certified for that particular thing or not. Let's say CH. If your job requires you to do so, then only do it. Apart from it, certificates are not necessary always to land into jobs. Skills, presentation, mindset, willingness. These are the points which are more necessary. Clear? So I won't bound you regarding that these are the only prerequisites or these are the things which you should be looking into, but you should be knowing into the things, right? I would suggest you simple thing. In your home, you do have Wi-Fi. It's a network, right? You do have one more than one device. You have a network. Try to collect the things. Try to see what logs it does make, which tool do what type of thing. You do not have nothing to you don't have anything to lose up over there, right? So that might be basically helping you into that part. That is a common
Yes,
thinking. If I would be on your shoes, I might be doing the same thing. I do know that my brother is in this field, he has done this 1 2 3 certificate, let me do this, I will also get a job like my brother. So that's a normal tendency, human tendency is this. But before going into something, just see whether it is going to help you or not, right? And whether it's basically going to uh, help you or not, and whether this is something which you are looking into. But if I do say so, that SOC and Azure 900, these are totally two different things, right? 900, if you are looking into Azure Sentinel, then yes, it is a good start, but you should be knowing the path, right? That what is the path to go for Azure Sentinel? You should be knowing how SOC works. So telling you that what is SIM, how SIM works, how Azure Sentinel is different from other SIMs, All these things basically might be helping you to go through it. I would say since you are totally fresher, go for a training which is an entry level, like a CH or Security Plus training. It's not basically I'm saying that you do the certificate. I'm saying the training. If you do not have monetary restrictions, go for certificate also, but at least go for training where you can learn the things. If not training, try to find equivalent sources on internet which are equivalent to CH and Security Plus, right? And read that stuff. Not just read, I'm not saying you to read, it might not help you. Read that stuff, but do it practically as well. If you read that, how to basically collect all the IP addresses in a network, try it practically out there. Install a virtual box or a VMware workstation, and then install a OS up over there and try to collect that particular thing, right? So that might basically help you to get started with, and then basically as per your taste, you can choose your field up over there.